Hey, John here with Ricker Creations. How you guys doing today? I'm doing all right. My sinuses are bothering me a little bit, so my voice is coming and going, but we'll soldier through. Make sure you let me know down in the comments how you're doing. I really do want to know. We got a fun little build for you today since it's starting to warm up and people are getting outside and doing stuff. I'll give you a shopping list here. You're going to need a cedar fence picket, of course. You're going to need two 8 foot long 2x2s. Or you could get one 8 foot long 2x4 and rip it in half. You're going to need a 1x3. You're only going to need about 30 inches or so of one, but I would go ahead and get a whole one so you have one left over for another project. And you're going to need some screws, about 30 or so, between 1 3/4 and 3 inches, depending on how you go about your build. All right, guys, let's get it done. One of my favorite things about woodworking is looking at the materials that you're going to use. Here we've got 3 boards and a handful of screws, and we're going to turn it into a nice camping chair. Or if you want to call it a beach chair, you can. The first thing you're going to want to do is sand down your cedar fence picket. I would just do it with 80 grit. It don't, unless you really want to finish it and make it super nice, then you can go down to about 180 and that would be fine. But we'll just hit it with 80 grit to smooth it down. Let's get it done. I do find it easier when you're sanding down something like a bunch of cedar fence pickets. If you sand them down before you cut them with your first run of sanding, it'll make things much easier in the long run. It's easier to sand down one cedar fence picket to 80 grit than it is a bunch of small pieces of one. That's why I'm doing it this way. We need 5 of them at 14 1/4 inches, so lay it out like you typically would. Measure up from your bottom at 14 1/4. Check your line to make sure you didn't move your pencil. And that's why you check it, because I did move my pencil. We don't edit out mistakes in our video. We show you how to correct them. Okay, check your new mark. Right on the mark. When you're making repeatable cuts like this, if you have a way to set up a stop block, it will help you tremendously. For one this long, I really don't have a way at this moment, but I am going to build one soon. That's going to be one of our next few builds. So we're going to redo my miter saw station. All right, let's get these cuts made. 5 of them. Now that you've made that first cut, repeat it 4 more times. Those cuts will take all of your fence picket and leave a little bit of your dog ears like that. If you do not like that, you can cut another piece. I think I'm going to cut another piece. I don't much like the way that looks myself, but if it don't bother you, then you can go ahead and use it. Next, you're going to need to cut two by twos at 30 inches, but since we're going to rip a 2x4 in half, we will cut one at 30 inches and then rip it at the table saw. Next, you're going to need two 26-inch pieces of 2x2s, or if you're ripping down a 2x4, you're going to cut one of them at 26. Next, you're going to need a 8-inch piece of 2x2, just one. And I already had a piece of ripped down 2x4 from our last project, so well, from one of our last projects. So I'm going to go ahead and use it and not have to use any more of the 2x4 than I have to. That's why you always check your measurement. For the last two cuts, you're going to need two pieces of 1x3 at 14 1/4 inches. Okay, I went ahead and ripped down the 2x4 pieces, and this is what we have. We've got back and front legs, braces, seat, and back. Sand all of your slivers off from the cutting, and we'll move on to assembly. Okay, time for assembly. I think we will do our assembly on our table saw. We have a little bit more room over here. First thing we're going to do is take what would be our back legs, the 30-inch pieces, and we're going to take one of our fence pickets and one of our 1x3, and our bottle of glue. And of course, our drill with our pilot bit and screwdriver bit. Let's get assembly done. Okay, first thing we're going to do is put our top fence picket in place. It's going to go to the top of our legs. Keep it flush at the top. And we're going to drill one pilot hole in each corner. And then we're going to put 2 screws, one in each corner. Be very careful not to knock your pilot holes out of alignment, which I probably just did because I had to run upstairs really quick. Put your other screw in. Make sure everything's nice and flush. Be careful not to split anything. And there's that. Now we're going to measure up 5 inches from the bottom on each leg. Use your square to make you a line. Okay. That line is where the bottom of our 1x3 is going to sit. We're going to spread some glue on there to help with stabilization because that's going to, holy crap, I just sprung a leak. Because that's going to have a whole lot of weight on it. Holy crap. All my glue bottles are messed up now, apparently. I apologize, guys. I got a mess to clean up here. Okay, I apologize for that. That's about what you're looking for there. Now that we've got our mess cleaned up, flush up with your line and the end of your 2x4 at the side of or the end of your 1x3 at the side of your 1x2. Do that on both sides. After you get that done, you're going to drill you a pilot hole in the top corner of that on both sides and put 2 screws in each one. Since you have glue drying, you want to take your time fast because this is still going to have to move to be squared up some. Get 2 of your screws. These little magnetic bowls like this one right here that you can get at Harbor Freight for like $4 or $5 are absolutely perfect for holding screws while you're working, especially if you're working somewhere like your table saw that is metal. And be careful that you don't split your board. That one just about did. Okay, now real quick, wipe up your squeeze out. Take your tape measure. Measure from the corner of your brace to the corner of your fence picket, 29, and do it over here at this side diagonally. And then you want to try to shift it around until it is square. That means you get the equal measurement both sides. 28, 5/8. And there you got pretty close to square. So go ahead and drill your holes for your other 2 screws in your fence picket and your cross brace. Put it in. And after you get these screws all put in, You're going to, look at there, I just split my cross brace a little bit, but I think it'll be alright. You're going to want to add you 2 more fence pickets. You're going to want to space them about a ½ inch apart and put them on the same way. Drill you pilot holes and put screws in. Okay, gang. I broke my pilot bit during that assembly fiasco, so I get to show you a hack. If you're using a small little bit like that as a pilot bit and you break it, get you a 2-inch brad and chuck it up in your drill, and it will work as a pilot bit, as you can see here. Now that you have your project flipped over, make sure there's no glue still present. After that spill I had, there's always going to be some somewhere, I assume. But you're going to measure up 8.5 inches and make your marks the same way you did in the front with the 5-inch mark. And that is where your other 1x3 is going to sit. You're going to want to glue it too. You're going to want the bottom of the 1x3 sitting on the line, right like this. Go ahead and do your pilot holes and put your screws in. Try to make sure you keep that brace on that line. Now put your screws in. And we'll move on to the next section. If you used 2x2s, everything should be fine from here on out. If you did not, if you ripped down a 2x4 like I did not account for the little bit of extra wood. So you're going to have to cut about 1/4 of an inch off of your cross piece here. If you lay everything down inside your back frame, it's already square, so everything should be squared up here, so you don't have to worry about measuring so much. But put your cross brace in 8 inches up from the bottom. With your cross brace attached to your seat, go ahead and slide it down inside the frame of your back because it's already square. That way you don't have to do all of the measuring. And then just drill your pilot holes and put everything in place. There you got 2 fence pickets left to put in. That's what you're doing now. And don't forget, if you're using the brad nail as a drill bit trick, it will bend eventually. After you get those last 2 fence pickets on, it's time to assemble and see how it works. slides between these two braces here on the seat frame, slide between the two braces on the back frame. It's a little bit of a tight fit, but there we go. It seems like it's angled a little bit more than I would like. I might bring that front brace down a little bit lower if it were me. Let's see if it'll hold me up. And it does. It feels a little tipsy towards the front. I'll definitely lower that front brace a little bit. But there you have it. For $11, you got you a nice camping chair. You could strap it on your back with your backpack and take it backpacking up in the mountains. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this build. I hope you have a great day. I will see you next time.